Today's video is going to be an update video-ish, because right after I finished filming the level 1 performance kit that I was putting on my Coleman, I wiped out and broke my clavicle. So it's been about a month and I'm on vacation now, and I have the video of putting the performance kit in, but I don't have a video of riding it. But I'm going to put a picture of the x-ray, and then I'll put that video in of putting the performance kit in. But it'll probably be another month before I get into riding or doing anything else. But I'm going back to the doctor in about a week once we're done with vacation. And we're at my grandma's house right now, and we'll see what he says. We're going to have to take another x-ray, and he'll estimate when I can get back to normal activities. But then I'll show all the stuff I have at my grandma's house, and that'll be another video. But here it is. Today I'm going to be working on my Coleman Minibike, doing the level 1 performance kit. And I cut a few things out, like the exhaust, because I already put one on. You can check that out in a previous video. And I didn't make a video about this, but I put a pair of cattle horns that my buddy gave me on it. Just drilled some holes through it, zip ties, and then I cut a little notch back here so it fits around. But yeah, so here it is. I got the air filter, what's in here? The jet, the sock, the vents, and the heavier valve springs. And here's the adapter, and then some stickers. Thank you for that. And let's get started. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking the air box off. There's two nuts right here and here. This whole thing should slip right off. And make sure to turn the on and off to the side, and the choke and the on and off to the side so that it comes off, because there's a little notch that it comes out. So once you get those two nuts off, come back here and disconnect the vent tube from the valves. I'll just take it out of the valve right there, and then slips. Actually, pull this over. The whole thing comes right off, and goodbye, piece of garbage. Alright, so I got the oil draining, and for the drain plug, these two nuts, and to drain the bowl and take off the bowl, they're all 10 millimeter. So now I'm gonna take off the bowl and just drain it. So you keep the bowl, and this is probably the easiest part. You're going to need a real tiny screwdriver to get up into here. Okay, I over-exaggerated it a little bit, but a small screwdriver, definitely. And you're going to have to kind of do this blindly and start unscrewing. Make sure when you unscrew to not let everything fall out, not let all the pieces fall out, the jet come out, and so it comes. And make sure, I'll show you how it goes in. There's another piece on the inside it, right above the jet, and it's this piece right here. And see how it's skinnier up at the top and wider down at the bottom? This skinny piece up top is what goes up. That's what goes into the carburetor first, and then the jet goes right after it. This is the old jet. I don't know how well you can see through that. And then this is the new jet, and you see that? You can see right through it. It's a lot bigger, which means it's the old one, new one. It's a lot bigger, letting a lot more fuel through. Take this piece, make sure skinny end goes up, and then you'll put the jet right underneath it and hold it up with your hand, and then stick the screwdriver in and screw it in. And you don't want to tighten this down too much. You just want it so it's snug. And then just do a quick test to make sure everything's flowing through. Open up right here. The black one on the bottom. This one. Open it up real quick to make sure fuel comes out. Yep, you see fuel's coming out? So, we're good. So that one's in. And now we're going to put the bowl back on. You got to make sure there's this little threaded part right here. That goes upward for this little retaining bracket on the choke lever, because you see it comes off real easy without that whole air box on it. I even had problems with it with the air box. So I'm going to start with that now. So you want to make sure that it's on the proper way.
You could put some Loctite on them so they hold a little better.
Then this piece will sit on top like that, and it goes in with this little bolt right here on the back. All right, now you're ready to put on the air filter. So put these over so you can get it on, and you need a flathead for this to put the hose clamp. So just slip that on it. Yes. Then you want to get it on almost all the way, right to the edge. So you can turn it to point it backwards, and you probably have to loosen the hose clamp a little bit. Get it where you want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hose clamp underneath so that it's hidden and you can't really see it. So it looks a lot cleaner. All right, now I'm going to be fixing my brake because I took a little bit of a spill and broke it. So, okay, thank God. It still works. It cracked, but I just tightened the rest of the way and it still works. So, that's good. Well, I just accidentally time-lapsed the video. What I did is I took one of the vent filters and took this orange tubing and cut a piece off the original tubing from the vent on the valve cover that went to the air box. And I cut a piece and I fit this piece inside that and then onto the filter. And right now I'm going to take one of these zip ties and tie it up just as a safety precaution. Just get around the orange part. Stick it in. Flip it over and tighten it down. Take my pair of dikes and just... Alright. So there's that. And I'm not going to put it on yet until I take the valve cover off. So that is what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I got the valve cover off. I got the spark plug out. And I got a piece of string with the end burnt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pinky in the spark plug hole and pull the starter, the pulse cord until I feel the pressure build up. See there, I screwed it up. Right there. I'm gonna take a screwdriver and just put it in the spark plug hole. Check it's at top dead center. I'm gonna take this string and just start feeding it in. Alright, so I got the string stuffed in there to keep the push rods from coming out. And what you're gonna need is a 14mm and a 10mm. And the 10mm is like the lock nut. And then the 14mm is like to adjust the valves. Alright, so we'll just do this is the intake valve, this is the exhaust valve. The exhaust valve is a little different because it has this little piece on it that you put on, but I'll show you how to do that once I take it off. I already did the exhaust valve, so I'm going to show you on the intake valve. So there's a bigger hole over here, and it sits on a smaller hole. You have to push it down and slide it over to that bigger hole, and it comes right off. You want to save this top piece. Take your old spring out, or toss it wherever. Get your heavier spring, fit it back on there, put it around, and do the same thing. You put, except just opposite. You push it through the big hole, and then slip it over onto the smaller hole so it sits there nicely. Now we got it on. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a spoon, put it on, and make sure you see it, how there's this beveled side, and on this side it pops out. The part that pops out is on the rear. Part on the front, the one that bevels down, goes on the front. And you slip that over, line it up. Actually, for the exhaust valve, you have to put this little tiny piece on it. And the exhaust valve is the one on the left side. Now I'm going to take the string out, boom, and that same thing, I stick my finger in the spark plug hole, and I believe it's right there. Screwdriver just to make sure. Nope. I just put the screwdriver in there. Okay. We're at top dead center. We're at top dead center. So now you see both valves move. So what you're gonna do is just screw these on. Not too tight. Back them out a little bit. But you want to make sure when you adjust them, make sure you're at top dead center. So right there, top dead center. Alright, so you just use these nuts to adjust the valves. And the intake valve, which is the one on the right, I adjusted, and this is cold, I adjusted to 5/1000ths of an inch. And then the right one, which is the exhaust valve, or I mean the left one is the exhaust, right one is the intake valve, left one is the exhaust valve. I put it to 7/1000ths of an inch. And they're recommended, the intake on the right is 6,000, and the exhaust on the left is 8,000, but I took them down 1/1000th of an inch because they'll expand more when they warm up. So that's basically it. And I'm going to get the cover back on, and I'll take it for a rip.